What if Deku had solo leveling system part 1? So, buckle up and get ready to experience a thrilling journey. Chapter 1. Courage of the Weak. Izuku's eyes stared at the message as time was frozen around him. He could see Kasuki scared for his life, as the sludge monster was close to striking him. The villain had the intent of killing him earlier, so why did he run into this with only his back bag? "I'm an idiot" was the only thing running through his mind until his eyes locked onto a blue box standing out from the green sludge. Alarm. You have completed all the necessary requirements of the secret quest Courage of the Weak. What is this? Izuku stares at the box until it changed. You have earned the right to become a player. Will you accept? Earned and accept. Izuku looks around, seeing the heroes were also frozen, just staring. What the heck is going on? You do not have much time remaining. Accept. Alarm. Welcome, player. Everything went dark in Izuku's vision as he felt the familiar heat of Kasuki's corpse before he was blasted. He did not get back up. 3 days later. Izuku shot up, gasping for air as he looks around. The sunlight was bleeding into the room while the sun was slowly lowering over the horizon. He continually looks around, seeing he was in a hospital, and he pulls at the hospital gown. What happened? Izuku questions no one. A nurse and doctor rush in, and Izuku looked over. Hi, Izuku waves sheepishly as the nurse giggles softly. Hello Midoriya Izuku. I'm your doctor. I must say, you gave everyone a scare at what you did 3 days ago. The doctor looks at the sheets. I've been asleep for 3 days. Izuku's voice reverberates across the room. Sorry, but 3 days is my fry. Izuku clamps his mouth shut before finishing. Take a swan dive off the roof and pray for a quirk in the next life. I is my classmate, okay? Izuku rubs his neck as the nurse looked over the machines. Oh yes, All Might showed up after you got hit. You were the only one hospitalized. Your mother just left to go to work. Would you like us to call her? The doctor puts down the clipboard. Oh no, it's fine, thank you, Izuku breaths out. How much longer will I have to stay? Izuku tightly grips the bed sheets. A few more days. We just want to make sure you are good to go before sending you back into the world. The doc smiles calmly, to keep Izuku calm as well. Thanks. Izuku lowers his head as the doctor and nurse left. Once the door shut, Izuku looks above where he sees a familiar blue message. Message. You have unread mail. They couldn't see it. Izuku supplies his own mind that was currently racing. Izuku pulls away the shirt, seeing no bandages, no burn marks, not even his old scars. Should I tell people? Izuku puts his hands over his eyes and sighs. Izuku peeks between his fingers at the box above him. He reaches up carefully, but his hand goes through the screen. Guess it's not touch screen. Open mailbox. The screen quickly changes. Message. Welcome player, unread. Daily quest. Preparing to become strong has arrived. Unread. Open daily quest. Izuku's voice quivers gently. Alarm. The system will help the player's growth. Alarm. If he fails to obey the system's orders, there may be a penalty. Alarm. Your rewards have arrived. What does this even mean? Izuku stares at the 3 boxes in front of him. Is this my quirk? Izuku thought back to the attack. Courage of the Weak, Izuku mutters. He was broken out of it as a new box opens, and the others disappear. Message. Daily quest. Preparing to become strong. Has arrived, unread. Check. Izuku stares as the box changes once more into a much bigger box. Quest directions. Daily quest, getting ready to become powerful. Goal. Incomplete, push-ups 0-100. Incomplete, curl-ups 0-100. Incomplete, squats 0-100. Incomplete, running 0-10 kilometers. Warning. Failing to complete this daily quest will bring a punishment associated with this quest. There was a clock at the bottom of the message as Izuku reads through the quest. This is a joke, right? Izuku looks around the hospital as the sun looked ready to disappear soon. Someone hospitalized, let alone me. I don't have the strength to do this right now. Izuku flops back into bed before rolling over. I'll check it later. The sun sank below the horizon as Izuku slept. He did not notice the clock on the bottom of the quest board changes as time passes. Soon the clock turns red, and a new message pings in front of his face. Izuku squints at the sudden light in front of his face. Alarm. You have not completed the daily quest. You are now heading towards the penalty zone for a certain period of time. The ground starts to shake as Izuku sits up. What the? Soon he found himself in the middle of a desert with the sun's soft glow in front of him. The desert. Izuku claws at the sand beneath his hands. No way, this has to be a dream, alright. Izuku stops muttering as he hears the sand behind me shift and fall. He turns slightly, staring at a centipede. A giant centipede. What? Quest directions. Penalty quest. Survive. Goal. Survive until the time runs out. Time required. 4 hours. Time remaining. 3h59 min 57 sec. Why, okay, kidding, right? Izuku scrambles to his feet and runs. 3 hours 59 minutes and 55 seconds later. Izuku pants while sprinting away and more centipedes spring up from the sand ready to eat him. Sweat covers Izuku from head to toe. He turns back with wide eyes as the centipede opens its mouth to bite. Alarm. You have completed the penalty quest. The desert disappeared and shifts back into the hospital room where he was staying. Izuku faceplants the hard floor. He scrambles to his hands and knees, looking upwards as he tries to collect his breath. He looks up, seeing the message before it changes. Message. Your rewards for completing the penalty quest have arrived. Would you like to accept? Penalty quest. Izuku mutters before passing out just as a nurse walks in. All she saw was the sand surrounding Izuku's feet and his body laid out on the cold floor. What happened here? She checks on Izuku. Someone come and help. Please. The nurse yells into the hallway. A few days later, two nurses were talking near a window as they enjoyed their break. So did you see the boy they brought in from the sludge villain incident? One nurse sips her coffee slowly. Yeah, he's been running every day since he woke up. The nurses turned to see Izuku running past them. Is that okay for him to do? If it's light exercise, it's okay. Izuku came to a stop, propping himself upon his knees, panting and a slight smirk on his face, even if he was panting and sweating. He learned he had a quirk. Alarm. Running 10 kilometers. Complete 10 kilometers. No one else can see the messages or alarms. That's good. Keeps me hidden. Izuku decided to mess around with his new quirk before telling anyone. In front of him, his daily quest opens completely, showing he completed everything. Quest rewards. Choose your reward. You may choose one of the rewards below. Reward number 1. Status recovery. Reward number 2, stat points plus 3. REWARD number 3, random box plus 1. Will you accept? Accept. Reject. Accept status recovery. Izuku stood up straighter as golden light surrounded him like magic, and he could breathe normally again. He didn't feel tired anymore. Magic that heals your fatigue after exercising feels like cheating. Izuku smiles to himself before sitting down on the bench. He figured a lot about the quirk, if you could call it that. Everything felt like a video game to him. There were state points and random box items. Izuku holds out his hand as the box appeared into it. He could increase any one of the character's stats at will, as long as he had stat points. Status. Name. Midoriya. Izuku. Level 1. Job. Nen. Fatigue 0. Title. None. MP 10. Strength 16. Vitality 10. Agility 10. Intelligence 10. Sense 10. Remaining points 3. I get stronger as I increase my stats, of course. Increasing levels would do the same like in a video game. Izuku thinks carefully before pulling up his skills sheet and inventory sheets, as he leaned back into the bench staring at the boxes. This is crazy. Izuku gets dressed in what his mother brought him. He didn't know why, but they still haven't let him check out yet. He didn't mind, but he needs to test something out. Can I take leave for today? Izuku asks the receptionist. His black hoodie was on, and he yawns, rubbing his hair some. It's fine, but where are you going? The receptionist asks without bothering to look up. I have to go see a classmate. I have to get my schoolwork. Izuku lies smoothly, and she lets him leave. Izuku quickly makes his way to a subway near the hospital and stops at the entrance. He stares down the stairs before he pulls a golden key out of his inventory system. Time to see what this does. The random box from that morning gave him this key telling him where to go. Item. Dungeon key. Item class. E. Type. Key. The key that allows you to create an instant dungeon. You may use this in the third entrance of Endeavor Station. The key to open an instant dungeon. Yeah, this completely feels like a game. Izuku swallows softly. Guess I should give it a try. If this is my quirk, then I'm far behind in training. Izuku mutters to himself as people walk around him, ignoring him like they usually did. He held out the key and breaths out. No more running away, no more being weak. The key lights up before the sound of electricity fills the area around him. At the bottom of the stairs, blue light bleeds, making what looks like a portal. Izuku walks down the stairs and through the entrance. Alarm. You have entered the instant dungeon. Chapter 2. Newfound strength. Alarm. You have entered the instant dungeon. Izuku weakly swallows before he hears something that sounds like hardening. He turns around, seeing the blue portal starting to turn into a wall. Wait. Izuku hits the hardened wall. No way, the entrance is blocked. Izuku pushes against the wall until a girl walks past him straight through the wall. He couldn't. As so I can't run. If something bad happens, I'm stuck. Alarm. You cannot leave the dungeon. Either kill the boss or use the return crystal. Izuku stares at the message on the wall. He swallows roughly before turning around, looking into the subway station. I literally just got my quirk, and they want me to kill a boss. The subway was dark and seemed wholly abandoned. Why you got to be kidding, Izuku mutters sarcastically. The long howl comes from the depth of the subway, and Izuku shook his head before standing straighter. He walks forwards with his fists clenched at his side. The flickering lights above him and cracked cement gave the subway station a creepy feeling. God, this place looks as good as Endeavor's personality. Izuku looks around, seeing grass sprouting between the cracks. The store gates were all shut and locked as Izuku comes to a cross-section. What do I do? What do I do? Izuku stares down the hallways and takes a deep breath. Izuku sticks out his tongue. Gross. Izuku covers his nose. Suddenly a deep growl comes from the left. Izuku's eyes snap onto it as a red-furred beast jumps at him, ready to rip his head off. Izuku jumps backward, dodging the creature as it skids on the floor. A wolf. Izuku lowers his stance, some staring before a name pops up above the beast's head. Steel Fang Riken. The beast had red fur, and what looked like a metal lower jaw. Ah, that's why it's called Steel Fang. Izuku clenches his fist, brings his leg back. I've never fought in my life. Beaten up? Yes. Fraud? Oh hell no. The beast growls again while baring its teeth. Izuku looks down, seeing he didn't move an inch even though he thought he did. Am I that afraid? Izuku tears up. Come on, move. The beast lowers itself before charging. Damn it. Izuku jumps to the side as the wolf tries to attack him. I can't cry all the time. Izuku whips his cheeks, staring down the beast. The wolf goes on the attack again, making Izuku move his head left as the metal jaw snaps shut where his head once was. He jumps backward, using his hands to cartwheel away and flips, landing on his head with his back slamming against the metal gate. Izuku saw the world was upside down. He tilts his head some. Cha. Izuku pushes off the floor, doing a perfect handstand with ease. My body is lighter. Izuku pushes off the floor with his hands before righting himself, landing on 2 feet. He stood face to face with the beast as it goes for another attack. Izuku pulls his fist back. I almost died a few days ago. I'm not dying now. Izuku slams his fist against the metal jaw of the wolf. The wolf's jaw snaps shut before its body was flung backward into the metal gates, caving them in. Izuku staggers back some, raising his hand, seeing a soft green glow around his hand. See, could it be because I improved my strength stat? Izuku wants to laugh. I might be able to get into UA University now. 13 pathetic years of being a quirkless kid. A growl knocks him out of his thoughts, making him look down. Izuku watches as the wolf walks out of the broken storefront. Not yet, it's still stronger than I am. Let's go. Izuku charges forwards, meeting the wolf and punching it as many times as possible without getting caught by its teeth. Izuku leaps backward again. It's not affected by my hits. I don't have a weapon too. Izuku jumps away, getting a claw mark across his thigh for his troubles. Inventory. The blue screen pops up next to Izuku as the wolf was digging itself out of the metal hole it creates in a different gate. Izuku's eyes scan the weapons page, seeing an icon of a sword. His hand quickly reaches into the screen, grabbing the hilt of the weapon. Izuku pulls the weapon out. My first reward from that nightmare run. A sword materializes from the screen. Item. Steel blade. Type. Sword. Plus 10 attack. Izuku didn't have time to look at the stats because the wolf attacks him. Izuku swings in a forward motion, cutting the beast in half with the forward momentum of the animal. Its body lands behind Izuku, and blood splatters the walls. Alarm. You have defeated the Steel Fang Riken. Alarm. You leveled up. Inventory. You beautiful thing. Izuku breaths out, holding the sword in front of him. A sudden sound makes Izuku look down the hallway as 2 more names pop up next to each other. Red eyes are piercing the darkness that surrounds the same beast he just killed. I have a weapon. I'm not afraid of you anymore. Izuku pulls the blade up only to see the tip of the sword was stuck in the floor. I swing it that hard. Izuku yanks and pulls with both hands as he hears the steel fangs charging him. Come on. The wolves got closer and jump at him. Izuku screams in frustration as he rips the sword away from the stone and slices the air in quick succession of each other. The first beast only got cut in the side. The second one caught the blade between its teeth. Steel Fang got it. Izuku swallows his spit. The beast was looking right at him. Izuku quickly brings his knee up, connecting with the creature's chest, making it fly into the air. Izuku pulls the blade from its mouth and cutting the wolf in half. The first wolf looks at its buddy before looking at Izuku, who stands up straight. You monsters are pretty weak. Even Katsuki could probably take care of you. He watches as the beast lowers itself, and the shadows surround it. Only red eyes show it before it disappears. Izuku pulls up his stat sheet, seeing each one of his levels was up by 1. Status. Name. Midoriya Izuku level 2. Job. Nen fatigue 3. Title. None. HP 205. MP 22. Strength. 20. Vitality. 11. Agility. 11. Intelligence. 11. Sense. 11. Skills. Passive. Unknown. Max. Muscularity LV. 1. Active. Sprint LV.1. I already put most of my points into strength, but every time I level up, each stat goes up by 1 as well. Izuku rubs his chin looking at the blue screen in front of his face. Clearing the daily quest gives me 3 stat points. Leveling up means all my stats go up by 1. I get a total of 5 points. Izuku takes a deep breath, trying his best to keep the information in order, since he didn't have his notebook with him. Hunting monsters and leveling is more effective at gaining stat points. How much stronger do I become per stat point? Izuku questions himself. Wait, are my stats weighted? Izuku looks down at the two dead bodies of the monsters that attacked him. He walks over to them. Did my quirk create these just to have us fight? Izuku touches the jaw gently before grabbing one of its teeth and pulling it out. It pops up information about it. Item: Raken's Fang. Item class: None. Type: Junk. The large and sharp fang of a Raken. You can keep it in your inventory or sell it in the store. There's even a store here. As Izuku talks, the store screen pops up next to him while he was crouched over the dead monster. He clicks the buy button, but the system informs him he was not a high level enough to buy from this store. Okay, new players can't use this function, then what about sell? Izuku pushes the button before pressing yes. 20 gold. I can't tell how much it's worth since it's not cash. Then again, Izuku looks up into the dark hallways. This is a dungeon, he sighs before standing up. I can't leave unless I kill the boss. I always have the return crystal, but I don't think I could return if I used it. Izuku groans at the complexity, but a smirk appears on his face. I got a quirk, though. What do you think now, Kakin? Izuku looks at the blade as blood rolls down it, but he did not feel sick or scared. I can do this. A low growl comes from the end of the hallway leading into the deeper part of the station. Izuku looks over, seeing a single wolf staring at him with crimson eyes. Then multiple crimson eyes light up behind the visible wolf. They all begin moving towards him. Izuku steels himself, glaring at each of them. There's nothing to fear. Izuku sings the mantra in his head out loud, reading the sword in one hand. I'm pretty sure I already died once before. Let's go. Izuku lunges forward at the same time the Raken does. Izuku starts attacking. Green and blue mix with each swipe, slicing through one wolf and another and another. A wolf got behind him, biting his hoodie. Izuku quickly swiped backward, killing the wolf. I won't die that easily. Izuku glares back towards the wolves in front of him. So, you all should put up a good fight, or I'll feel bad. Izuku's eyes glow blue before attacking with ferocity. This world is built on fighting. Izuku kills 3 wolves before mowing down more. Fighting with everything on the line. Alarm. You have level up. I get it now. Izuku kills another beast. I never fought back before. Alarm. You have level up. The wolf goes to bite Izuku's arm only to get sliced in half. If I quit here, I'll get slaughtered. This isn't school, this isn't Kakin or his goons. Alarm. You have level up. Izuku slams a wolf down, shoving the tip of the blade through his steel jaw. If I die now, I will never become a hero. I will never save anyone. Izuku walks towards the beasts as he pulls the blade out of the one he just killed. I won't keep my head down like a weakling anymore. Izuku swings the sword in front of him before gripping the handle with 2 hands. If I can become stronger, I'll follow these rules to get there. Izuku yells and dashes forward with the blade back, ready to strike. Alarm. You have level up. The hallway was littered with dead bodies of the monsters he killed. Blood sprayed across the walls and ceiling. Some blood splashed across his neck and face as he continues to go deeper into the station. He walks into an open area where the gates were at. He turns his head, seeing a wall of blackness and crimson eyes, waiting and wanting his blood. Izuku turns and faces them as he breathes out calmly. Alarm. You have earned title. Wolf Slayer. Chapter 3. The Boss and Rewards. Izuku holds the sword at his side while blood drips from the edges. The blade was chipped and cracked. Looks like the blade is finally dull in the end. A weapon will inevitably lose durability. Izuku holds it up to get a closer look. Even if I buy a high-grade weapon, it becomes like this once I cycle through the dungeon a few times. Izuku held up the blade. Thanks to you. Izuku drops the sword back to his side as he looks around at the massacre of bodies around him. This worked out. Title. Wolf Slayer. A title given to a hunter proficient in fights against wolves. 40% increased experience against beast-type monsters. 34 wolf fangs, 2 worn daggers, traveler's clothes, heartstone. Izuku mutters as he looks at his inventory. That's more than I was expecting. Heartstone. Izuku calls out, and a stone with a blue glow too materializes in his hand. Should I just go back? Izuku looks at the stone before putting it back into the inventory. No, there's no guarantee that there will be another chance to get stronger this easily. The random box gave me the key. Izuku rubs his face some while looking around. Will this place just disappear if I leave now? Izuku continues to walk over dead wolf bodies, looking around carefully. For the first time, I can learn about my own quirk without it being weird or creepy. Izuku steps on the wolf's furry body. Advance or retreat, and I'm so tired of retreating. Izuku continues his march through the station, killing any new monsters that showed up. Alarm. You have level up. Every time I level up, the fight against the monsters, Izuku grits his teeth before slicing another wolf, becomes a little bit easier. Izuku cuts up what looks like a large baboon and a black panther, each with crimson eyes that keep reminding him of Katsuki's, but a lot more bloodthirsty. You have slain Razor Claw Briga. You have slain Black Shadow Raisin. You have slain Black Shadow Raisin. I can definitely feel myself getting stronger. Izuku leans against his dull sword, panting as the dead monsters laid at his feet. Because the monsters keep respawning like video games, They don't feel like living creatures. Izuku stays in place analyzing the monsters in dungeon. Therefore, fighting them feels like a game where their patterns are determined. Izuku's eyes snap to the ceiling. I can figure out where they're coming from. Monkey from above. Izuku watches as a monkey drops from the ceiling. Cat from each side. 2 cats around him. Izuku quickly changes his grip on his sword before swinging upwards, making the monkey fall onto the sword before slashing its stomach open. He quickly turns to the cat on his right, cutting its head off before finishing the second one on his left. He then turns around to catch awakens straight down the middle, cutting the wolf in 2. The blue glow of his eyes shines in the darkness as he breaths out. He looks down at the monster, seeing the once orange name turn silver. The color of the name changes according to the monster's strength. White means it's weak. Orange means strong, and red. Izuku shivers just a little thinking about the centipede from the desert. Very strong. Izuku swipes his blade in the air, getting blood off of it as he continued to analyze the monsters. The Awakens who were orange at the beginning are now white, means I got stronger, a lot stronger. But even with my current strength, I'm not sure I can beat down whatever is waiting for me down there. Izuku stares down a foggy staircase with grass overgrown on the cement steps. I'm getting goosebumps. Maybe my sense stat has increased so much, but I can tell how strong the monster down there is. Izuku opens up his status sheet. My level doesn't seem to be rising anymore. Status. Name. Midoriya. Izuku. Level. 15. Job. Nen fatigue. 30. Title. None. HP 1105. MP 200. Also, my sword won't last if I keep fighting needlessly. Izuku quickly makes his decision and walks down the stairs into the darkness that awaits him. It takes a while, and Izuku mutters to himself as it was quiet beside his steps. These stairs seem longer than the others. Once, he made it towards the bottom, seeing the flooded area and overgrown grass everywhere. Is this seriously Endeavor Station? Izuku reached the bottom, not seeing a monster yet until his eyes snap over to a presence to his left. He brings his sword up just in time as something hits his sword hard. Fast. Izuku pushes against it as the sound of the scrapping of metals is screeching. Then his body gets whipped across the platform right into a pillar, making it shatter and indent. Izuku coughs out blood and gripping tightly onto the blade. He lands on his butt while catching his breath. Just a few inches above his head was cracked concrete and a crater. He quickly pulls his sword up to get ready for another blow, only to find his sword broke. Izuku stares at it in disbelief. I thought I leveled up a lot. He stands up, glaring at a giant snake. A name appears above its shovel-shaped head as it hisses. Swamp's ruler, blue poison fangs for Sokka. The giant blue snake curls back while towering over Izuku. But your name's still orange. The snake's jaw opens with fangs outgoing. Each fang seemed to have metal in them as they shined at the low light. Are you the boss of this place? Izuku spins the broken sword in his hand, gripping it, so the blade points backward like a dagger. Izuku quickly takes in the snake as the scales look hardened. The sword won't pierce, those punches won't have any effect either. Izuku's mind scrambles for an answer to this problem, but the snake went on the offensive. Izuku jumps left before attacking the side of the snake, only to hear clank after clank. I need a fast attack with weight behind it. Izuku yells at himself as the blade did not cut anything. At the same time, I have to weaken this guy's defense. Izuku looks up, seeing the glowing eyes of the snake and silver fangs from above. He quickly turns to face its head as the large body moves in front of him. How do I deal with these thick scales? The snake moves quickly, making Izuku dodge more rapidly until the bottom of the snake's body whips forward, and Izuku blocks it with his broken blade, pressing his forearm against the flat side of the edge to add stability. I might die if it hits me directly. Izuku grits his teeth harder, trying to block the continuous attack until the snake flicks its tail upwards, dislodging Izuku's block. The snake makes quick work, moving as fast as a viper, and slamming its body against Izuku's, ripping up his hoodie and causing pain. The snake finally stops, and Izuku lands on his hands and knees grunting. I thought I got a bit stronger, but I am still lacking. Izuku stares at the ground. How much stronger do I have to get? Izuku grabs his blade rightly just as the snake's mouth and the head were inches away. To escape from my past, as the weakest Izuku's blade met with the snake's metal fang, cracking both them and creating sparks. Izuku flew backwards, some landing on his feet, but in a low crouch. Strength. Izuku thought back to Katsuki and All Might as he sprints forwards to attack the boss. A pressuring force squeezes your head, and can make you yield. Izuku thought about the afternoon before the villain attack. Him on the floor as his classmates laughed at him for applying for UA. The first time the sludge villain attacked him to get away from All Might, the sludge villain feared All Might, but All Might's strength didn't make the villain yield. Even false hypocrisy won't protect me. Give up, kid, the Quirkless can't be a hero. Whatever the opponent does, pure strength will overwhelm you, and fear will make your knees collapse, and toes dig into the ground. Izuku grits his teeth, every memory of him getting beaten into the floor by his classmates. The teachers ignored it because I'm ignored because I'm weak. Even if you're knowledgeable, Izuku thought about his marks, and he was at the top of the class in every subject. Or why is Izuku creating new paths to get home without getting spotted by Kasuki or his goons? Nothing holds up in front of strength. Izuku breathes in deeply. It's easy to get betrayed. I have to get stronger. Izuku dodges another strike from the snake. That's why I came here. The snake's tail strikes him in the back, sending him face first into the concrete wall, making cracks spread throughout the wall. As the snake turns to face its opponent, Izuku gets off his knees, looking up at the snake, his hand trembling from fatigue. I have to become even stronger. Izuku didn't notice, but his eyes were ice blue instead of the usual bright green. He dashes forward as the snake follows his movement with mouth open and fangs ready. Izuku dodges and slices the underbelly of the snake. Not Yuri lands before cutting the scales more as his hoodie flaps in the wind of the snake striking past him. I'm not afraid of you. Izuku jumps as the snake's head was coming at him. Izuku dodges left again, but this time the snake turns its head and snaps at Izuku's hand, making him drop the sword. Izuku grunts loudly before jumping, wrapping his arms around the snake's neck right behind its head. Veins show through Izuku's skin as he squeezes around the snake's neck, grabbing and digging his fingers against the scales. I put all my points into strength. The scales crumble under each of his fingers as he squeezes the snake tighter, and the sounds of scales snapping make Izuku crush the snake harder. If it's this much. The snake goes up into the air, trying to get Izuku off its body, but he holds steady. The snake body slams Izuku into the ceiling, but he doesn't let go. Die. Izuku's arms wrap tighter, crushing more scales. Die. The snake starts spitting out blood. Die. Izuku's fingers and arms destroy the scales around it through crushing the snake's neck. At the hospital. Midoriya. Izuku still isn't back yet. His doctor asks the receptionist. Yes. He went out in the morning. The receptionist looks at the doctor. Why isn't he returning even after the sunset? The doctor looks outside, seeing the night sky. But he's recovered a lot and will be discharged soon. The nurse inputs while staring at the computer. There's something we are missing in that boy. The hero stated he took a massive explosion to his chest, and yet he is completely fine. I wanted to keep him in the hospital in case of a force mutation quirk. We can never be sure. The doctor walks away from the nurse. Alarm. You have leveled up. You have leveled up. You have leveled up. Ha! The cracked and damaged ceiling crumbles as heavy breathing comes from Izuku. Ha! Soon, it turns into laughter. Ha! Izuku looks around at the damage. Ha! He sees the craters in the walls and pillars where the snake slung him. Ha! I guess I got a bit. Izuku sits with his back leaning against the blue-scaled body of the giant snake. Stronger. The dull eyes of the snake facing away as the neck was crushed. Alarm. You have slain Swamp's ruler, Blue Poison Fangs Risaka. Item. Risaka's venom. Item. Class. A. Type. Potion. A pouch that contains Risaka's purified venom. Obtainable by defeating Risaka. Unlikely drop rate. Drinking it will give you hardened skin, but will weaken your strength. Effect: Risaka's steel scales. Minus 20% physical damage taken. Debuff: weakened muscles. Minus 35, strength. Item: Risaka's Fang. Item class: C. Type: Dagger. Attack: plus 25. A dagger made from Risaka's Fang. Able to paralyze due to leftover venom. Grants bleed effect. Can be equipped, stored, or sold. Effect: Paralyze. Attack foes have a chance to become unable to move. Effect: Bleed. Attack foes lose 1% of their health every 1 second. Izuku softly laughs as he looks down. My clothes are ruined. The sword I just got is broken. Izuku leans forward before grunting. My body is sore, but he holds up a short blade slightly longer than his forearm. I obtained a better blade than the one from the penalty quest. Izuku looks at the dagger with a small smile. A dagger made from a fang, not bone. I'll store all this for now. Alarm. The boss has been slain. The dungeon's interior will revert to normal. Izuku watches as the walls, floor, and ceiling start to moor and pixelates, showing a brighter surface underneath it all. Then the snake's body disappears, leaving Izuku on an empty train platform. Is it over? Izuku looks around, seeing a clean area instead of a degraded and bloody one. He makes his way back towards the entrance, where it all started, not seeing a single monster. It was raining as he reaches the outside. What time is it? Izuku questioned no one since no one was around. Who are you? The cop came over, and Izuku swallows roughly. How did you come out from there? Didn't you hear the broadcast? The cop. Izuku stares at the policeman. What happened? What are you saying now? The cop looks over Izuku as he still had the broken sword in his hand, and his clothes were torn. Could you be a hero? The cop looks at the fractured sword a little more. Shoot! Just Izuku bite his tongue. Yes, that's right, but... excuse me. I will guide you, sir. This way. The cop began to walk past cars that seemed to be crushed. Did a villain come over? We had him arrested a few days ago, but he got away. Mad Lady is halfway across the city and can't make it in time, so we need all the help we can get. The cop continued to show Izuku the way. A sudden spike of power makes Izuku's eyes flash blue before looking towards the power flux. Over there a building was broken apart by someone. I can feel it all the way from here. We need Montana Lady over there. This giant won't go down. A smaller time hero yells out as other sidekicks and cops try to help. The police were mostly trying to keep the news and citizens back. The giant quirk user kicks a truck, making it fly into a building. I'm not going to jail. The shark-headed villain roars. Please leave quickly. The cops yell and push people back. What are the heroes doing? One news report yells. How long are they going to fight? What a mess. That's a lot of damage. The street cracks open. We need to figure something out soon. A hero yells, throwing a boomerang at the villain. Excuse me, coming through. The cop next to Izuku yells. Izuku, on the other hand, stands at the back watching. Is it because they were called out on short notice? Their communication isn't working. Also, their ranks are low as well. Izuku mumbles to himself, watching the villain curse up a storm. I can't help here, plus I just lied to a cop. I'm not a hero. Yet Izuku shut himself up, staring at the heroes as they get kicked around. No, I have to do this. Izuku rolls back his right sleeve while holding the broken sword by its handle. He felt a rush of energy course through him as he steps back into a pitching motion. Compared to the boss I fought, this guy is weak. No one's eyes were on him as he flips his grip, holding the blade before throwing the sword. As soon as the blade left his hand, a small shockwave followed, blowing the rain away from Izuku's body as he does a backflip to counteract the blowback. If we don't get back up soon, we are screwed. A sidekick yells, blocking a slab of concrete from hitting his coworker. They all glare up at the villain, only to watch something nail the villain's forehead. The villain pauses for a second before being flung down the street, only coming to a stop when he hit a bridge. All the heroes stare at the destruction the villain left before rushing over to the passed out villain as his quirk let go. We did it. A sidekick cheers as they stand around the knocked out villain waiting for the cops. We beat him. Other cheer with her. The one hero tanking the hits stares at the villain, seeing the forming bruise on half of the villain's face. What? The attacks didn't work at all until a while ago, but he gets sent 2 blocks backward by what? The sidekick looks around the area. On the floor next to the villain's head was a broken sword stuck in the street. The gigantification quirk that we couldn't even handle was defeated by a broken sword. The sidekick looks back towards the cop. Excuse me. The sidekick quickly walks over. Yes? Are you talking to me? The new cop asks. Did you see who threw this? The sidekick holds up the broken sword. Ah, the hero over there. The cop turns to see absolutely no one. Huh. There was a hero right there a moment ago. That strength, that destructiveness, were they a high-ranked hero? The sidekick looks back down at the sword. Izuku glances behind him as he was away from the crowd and heading back to the hospital. I didn't think he would fall in one hit. Was he already worn out? Chapter 4. Return to normal. Also new dungeon. Izuku was still in his hospital room doing sit-up as he had nothing better to do besides his daily quest. His hair covers his eyes while his hands rest on the back of his head. The once skinny, frail-looking green-haired boy looked more like he was made of stone. Each muscle was defined and seemed to be cut entirely for his body. Sweat rolls over his abdomen. He gets up and puts the pull-out bed back under the main hospital bed as he starts his push-ups. A steadily growing puddle of sweat collects under his body. Gone was the baby fat that used to fill his cheeks, and gone were the weak-ass noodle arms, as Kasuki would say. The doctors finally explained why they wanted to keep him inside the hospital for so long. Izuku understood but kept his mouth shut about his quirk. They did not need to know. He wasn't a lab rat for the doctors to pick apart. Izuku focused on his push-ups. He didn't notice a nurse walking in. She was young and on the fair side, but Izuku, being the social outcast, was oblivious. Oh? The nurse almost squeaks. Ah, I'm sorry. Izuku was in a perfect push-up as he looks over at the door the nurse fills. His back straight, while his elbows did not break the plane his back made. Izuku quickly stands up as sweat rolls down his chest and arms. No, it's my bad. The nurse was looking away with a light blush on her cheeks. While this patient, the nurse watches as Izuku pulls the hospital shirt over his head. Was his body this chiseled when he came in? She holds her phone to her chest. Were you being discharged today? Izuku turns and smiles brightly. Yes, he could not wait to escape. He was tired of being poked at like a rat. If it's okay with you, could I have your number? The cute nurse holds out her phone. Number? Izuku held the phone, seeing it was already open to making a new contact. Yes, I mean, if you're okay with it. The nurse looks away, embarrassed. Is there a test result they need to send me later? Izuku questions himself before putting his number and name into the phone. Okay, please wait a second. Once he was finished with the paperwork, he goes home. The next day Izuku yawns as his fluffy green hair was a mess. He was packing his bags for school, even if he didn't want to go. His mother was still asleep in her room as he prepares himself food for lunch. Ever since he started working out for his quests, he created a better diet. Once he finishes, he places a note on the table telling his mom he was at school. Maybe I can convince the quirkiest principal to give me the exit exam early and just leave school. Izuku stops short of the doors as the light bulb blew up above his head. I should have tried that years ago. Izuku huffs and walks into school, heading right for the office. A lot of students stare at him and whisper. Izuku was used to it, but quickly found out what they were saying, since his sense stat was higher. Who is that? I have no clue. Is someone transferring in? He's fucking hot. Wonder if he likes blondes. Who the hell does this asshole think he is? Izuku quickly rolls his eyes, entering the office, seeing the only nice person in this school, typing away at a computer. Hello Miss Sung. Izuku smiles like he usually did whenever he saw her. She looks up, and her jaw slightly drops as she stops typing. Midoriya, is it you? She stands up with her hands on the desk staring in disbelief. Oh of course, who else would I be? Izuku jokes and blushing as she never acted like this before. She was usually worried about him. Have you been working out of something? Miss Sung stares for far longer than Izuku was comfortable. A bit. Izuku shrugs his bag up. Is the principal in? I want to talk to him about something. Izuku gave more of a nervous smile, since he didn't know if this plan would work. The uniform was a snug fit, and he could not button his jacket anymore, so he left it open. Luckily, the white shirt under it was big enough to fit his body, even if it felt like a compression shirt for workouts. Yes, he's in. You can go in now. She points to the door, and Izuku smiles as he bows. Thank you. Izuku opens the door, seeing the pig himself behind the big desk eating an apple. How may I help you, young man? The principal smiles for the first time in Izuku's presence. That's not normal. I would like to take the final exam early so I can get out of your hair, sir. I would see it as a benefit to both of us if I were able to graduate sooner. Izuku swallows dryly. What's your name again? The pig asks as he stares at Izuku, still not recognizing him. Midoriya. Izuku, sir. The pig's jaw drops, staring at the boy sorry man in front of him. 2 weeks ago, this kid was as skinny as a toothpick, and now he looks better than most of the gym rats at the school. Midoriya, what the hell? The pig squeals. No way, that is you. Yeah, it's me, sir. Izuku rubs his neck while looking away. The pig just stares, looking at the green eyes, then the freckles on both cheeks. The neck rubbing but no stutter like usual. The pig could not believe it. Why do you want to take the test early? The pig tries to come back from his shock. I just think it would be better for everyone if I graduate and get out of here as soon as possible. You will not have to deal with me anymore, and neither would the teachers. Kasuki Bakugo would leave me alone and no more distractions in your school. Izuku smiles politely, praying the pig would let him. That does sound good, and even if I want to deny this, you have amazing grades. So, come here after school. I will have your test ready and maybe your diploma as well. The pig smiles. Thank you, principal. Izuku got up and bows. I will see you after school. Izuku left the office, shutting the door softly before a massive grin spreads on his face, and he relaxes. Thank God, he agreed. Miss Sung waves at him from her desk, pointing at the counter near the door, seeing a late pass for him. He grabs it, bowing 5 times before leaving. The hallways were empty as he makes it to his homeroom. Hopefully, the last time I ever walk through these doors. Izuku knocks softly on the wooden door. Sorry, I'm late. Izuku opens the door as everyone stares at him. He swallows his nerves and walks in, handing the teacher the late pass before heading to his seat. He saw 8 red spider lilies on his desk, and gently ran his fingers across the flowers that are meant to pay tribute to the dead. He ignored the stares as he sits down, moving the flowers to the corner before pulling out a notebook ready to get this day over with. The teacher clears his throat and goes back to teaching. The gym class was interesting, to say the least. The boys watch him get dressed, even Kasuki did. Kasuki seems to be confused or having a mental breakdown. His body was in much better shape than the rest of them. Izuku ignores all of their stares, they were not worth his time. He decides to complete his daily quest, since most of the gym class was focused on team games. He was not going to be picked, so he went out to the track. He starts his 100 push-ups, 100 sit-ups, 100 squats, and his 10 kilometers run. As Izuku stares at his workout, he looks at his stats screen. My muscles grew. There's no way that my physical state changed after exercising for just a few weeks. So it definitely means that my status affects my body. Izuku made sure to bite his tongue to stop himself from mumbling as he continued to do push-ups. Since I kept increasing my strength stat, my body's probably changing accordingly. Izuku stares at his stat sheet. Status. Name. Midoriya. Izuku. Level. 18. Job. Nen fatigue. 3. Title. Wolf Slayer. HP 2220. MP 350. Strength. 48. Vitality. 27. Agility. 27. Intelligence. 27. Sense. 27. Remaining points. 12. Izuku sighs. Maybe I put too many points on strength. What happens if I keep putting points in? Izuku looks over at one of the known gym rats at the school, and he was massive, bodybuilder type guys. Izuku's eyes dull, and he shakes his head. Hopefully not that. Izuku didn't notice people were watching as he was well over 200 push-ups now. Since the synergy between strength and agility is good, I'll put some into that. Health is better the higher it gets, and sense is more useful than I imagined. Izuku quickly hops up before stretching his legs. He turns away and walks to the track, not noticing most of the guys were face down, panting and holding their arms. What the hell is he? One question. Did he finally get a quirk after that stupid stunt he pulled? Another one chimed in. Only one was quiet. Katsuki just watches the boy he used to bully turn into a machine as he ran. Every muscle working together to make him run faster than his entire skull, and some of them have slight speed quirks. Izuku, in the end, put 2 points into strength, making it 50. Agility got 8 points, bumping it up to 35, and sense got 2, making it 28. I guess this should be fine. Izuku perks up as someone was in his way. Izuku just jumps, clearing whoever it was and keeps running. He needs another KM to finish his daily quest. Katsuki growls as the nerd jumps over his ass. He just starts watching Izuku run around the track, not even out of breath, and seems to be lost in his own head. What the fuck? Back in the locker room, his shirt was pulled on by Katsuki and almost slamming him into the wall. Izuku just breaks out of Katsuki's grip before that could happen. What do you want, Bakugo? Izuku asks dully while walking to his locker and getting dressed for class. The people talking in the locker room fell into a hushed whisper. Did Midoriya just call Bakugo by his last name? One of the goons spoke in a shocked tone, while the other nodded. Izuku could sense the rage and frustration rolling off Katsuki, as Izuku quickly got dressed and cleaned out his locker. There's no way I'm failing the test today. He saw Katsuki having a mental breakdown and not paying attention to him, so Izuku just slips out of the locker room and goes back to class. For the rest of the day, he blocks out or ignores everything. He just needs to make it to the end of the day. After school, Izuku was back in the principal's office with 2 other teachers. They each hand him 2 stacks of papers that made up the final exam. You have 2 hours, no cheating. The principal smiles, and Izuku just nods before getting to work. Either they really want him out of the school, or he was smarter than he was giving himself credit for. Izuku completed the test in 45 minutes, and made sure to check it before handing it back to the principal. The pig hands it off to the teachers, and they grab it quickly. They kept eyeing the boy as he watches them not make a single mark on the test. Izuku sat quietly and waits. He observes the teachers as they finish and stare at the principal. He passed, they spoke at the same time. Izuku breathes out in relief. Well, then, Mr. Midoriya, congrats. Here you go. The principal hands him a diploma with the seal of the skull and his signature. It was a pleasure learning under you, Sensei's. Izuku lies, but holds the diploma tightly. Have a wonderful life. Izuku snatches his bags from the floor and leaves that pig-stain's office once and for all. Now he could start looking for dungeons since he was out of school. He walks home but quickly pulled into an alleyway by Bakugo and his 2 little goons. Izuku rolls his eyes and crosses his arms. What, Bakugo? Izuku stares down at Katsuki for the first time in his life. He was taller than him. I guess I did grow some. Izuku wants to smirk, but that would piss off the blonde more. What the fuck happened to you? Katsuki jabs his finger against Izuku's chest. I just started working out after that day. Izuku reaches up, rubbing his neck some. Why do you care? I didn't ask for your help that day, and where did your help get you? The fucking hospital, dumbass. Give up being a hero. Katsuki grabs Izuku's jacket just like his gym uniform, so Izuku did the same thing he did then. He broke Katsuki's grip and shoved him back against his goons. Once again, why do you care? Is your ego that inflated that I am a challenge? Grow up, we're almost in college now, and you are acting like a 4-year-old. Izuku shoves the goons to the side, moving back onto the street. I'm done playing childish games, Bakugo. I suggest you do the same before a hero catches onto what happened inside that skull. Izuku walks away with a frown on his face. The goons seemed terrified, and Katsuki was just pissed off and more confused as ever. Were the nerd's eyes blue? Katsuki growls and stomps away. Outside of his apartment, Izuku takes a deep breath before walking inside. Seeing his mother sitting at the kitchen table like every other day, waiting for him to get home. Izuku took off his shoes before moving towards his room, not wanting to ruin his mother's peace and quiet. Izuku, Inko spoke without opening her eyes. Izuku stops in the hallway before turning to her. Yes, Mom. Izuku watches as Inko looks him up and down. He felt like she was dissecting him with her gaze. God, please stop looking at me like I'm your favorite set of china that will break into a million pieces if you breathe on it wrong. Did anything happen at school today? She finally stops inspecting him. Izuku let out a breath. Are you okay? You would tell me if someone hurt you, right? She got cut off by Izuku. No, today was honestly perfect. I have homework to do, so love you. Be safe on your way to work. Izuku quickly disappears into his room, only forgetting it was covered wall to wall in All Might merchandise. Right, I need to fix this. Izuku grabs a box out of the closet and makes sure to take care of the figures and posters, putting them in the cardboard box. Once he was done, Izuku tapes the top of the box closed and wrote, "Sell later." On top of the box, Izuku places the box in the back of his closet and sits on his bed. Just black sheets cover his bed as he leans back and rubbing his eyes. Inventory, Izuku spoke out loud. The blue screen opens, showing his blades and items. He saw another random box was waiting to be opened. Random box, a black box with a golden string tied in a bow, was on his lap. He picks it up. Open, the golden lights wrap around his hand, and all was left was a steel key. Item. Dungeon key. Item class. C. Type. Key. The key that allows you to create a dungeon. You may use this in the Uraraka construction site at my prefecture. Are you kidding me? Izuku snatches his phone off his desk and searches for the construction site. 4 hours and 42 minutes by car. Izuku buries his face in his hands. I can do that, leave like I'm leaving for school and take a bus. Get there in 5 hours. Do the dungeon and make it back. Izuku shook his head as he starts planning. This would be a C-class dungeon though, can I solo it? Izuku taps his chin softly before shrugging. One way to find out, Izuku mumbles as he continues to work on his plans. Once he hears his mother leaves for work, Izuku got some sleep, knowing he would need it for his trip. The next morning, he did his daily quest since he'd rather not get another penalty quest. Once was enough in that desert. Once he finishes, Izuku dresses up in a black shirt, jeans, and a light jacket. He slides on his red high tops, making his way towards the bus station. Once he was at the station, he collects his ticket and waits for the bus to arrive. Izuku scrolls through the news feed while he waits, wondering about the monsters he may face inside this new dungeon, and why the heck it was sending him 373.4 kilometers away from home. Izuku grumbles and got on the bus when it finally pulls in. 5 hours in the countryside later. Izuku checks at his phone. The time was 2 p.m. Okay, that's good. I can get through this quickly. Izuku looks around, seeing the abandoned construction site. Izuku raises an eyebrow as he jumps the gate, landing smoothly on the other side. Izuku finds the entrance to the tall building that was not close to being complete as he pulls out his key and opens the gate. A large blue portal sparks to life, and Izuku gets ready to enter, before getting snatched. Izuku breaks out of the grip and jumps into the portal. Whoever tried grabbed him jumps after him. What the? Izuku catches the guys as they all fall through the portal into a dark cave. What did you guys just do? He stares at the adults closer, seeing them grinning some, and a fire lights up the cavern by someone's quirk. All 8 men stare down at Izuku. They all failed to notice they were underground now. Izuku stares at the portal, seeing it was still open. That's interesting. Izuku turns his attention back to the idiots that tried to jump him. Didn't you know this place is our turf? We already kicked those money-hungry construction workers out of here, so what the fuck are you doing here? The head guy grins, but Izuku's attention was directed elsewhere. It sounds like something was coming their way, a lot of somethings. Look, right now, if you want to get out of here, we have to work together, or we are all going to die. The men finally look around, seeing they were underground, as different caves went off to different places. They turn around to see the portals still glowing in the dark. What the hell, man? What's your quirk? The guy that was smoking questions while their leader grabs pull Izuku to his feet as Izuku sighs. This is my quirk, but now we can work together to get out of here. You can use your quirks all out, no one will get in trouble. Izuku smiles innocently. Izuku watches some of them seem to relax. Let's just win and leave. Izuku looks up. Fire guy blasts a hole above us. Izuku orders, and he didn't hesitate, which was surprising. Fire came out of his fingers before he pulls it to his mouth and shot what smells like gasoline upwards, making his mouth a flamethrower. The other guys used their quirks to kill the bugs left over. Izuku looks around, seeing the criminal crew work well together freely to use their quirks to the max. Izuku could not help but just watch their quirks while letting them do the work. Oh well. Izuku did feel bad for not knowing their names, as he saw a bug monster start crawling closer to him. Disgusting, Izuku punts the insect, leaving only the legs stuck on the floor. The leader creates a shield, drawing the insects to him with a yell. They have amazing teamwork, but I guess that makes sense if they are a close-knit group, Izuku observes, killing a few bug monsters here and there. Over here the shield turns red as another guy creating blades and slices through bug after bug. It took some time, but every insect was killed. All 8 guys who left panting but grinning. Seemed like they had fun. Izuku thought about the bugs. 8 legs, with human teeth. Creepy, they are more significant than human legs and red all over. Gross as Izuku picks up half of one of the bodies. That was actually kinda fun to go all out without being called a villain. A blade dude laughs. Agreed, man, I feel like a kid in a candy store. A leader looks at the monsters' dead bodies. One by one, they all turn facing Izuku. We are done. My quirk is like a video game. I get these places and must kill monsters and then the boss before I leave. Luckily, I had you guys here to help out. Izuku walks forwards. Of course, you can leave through the portal if you want to get out now. Izuku pointing backward at the open portal. He said, boss, so there's a bigger insect somewhere in here. The sword dude speaks up while following him deeper into the caves. Yeah, also before we get to the boss. Why did you guys kick a construction company out of here? I mean, they were just building what they were paid to build, Izuku had to know, since their personalities didn't seem like villains, but more like delinquents. They were just in the way, but all we had to do was threaten to fuck up his wife and daughter. The man folded like a wet piece of paper. An arrogant guy from the back yells out. Some of the guys laugh, but Izuku just nods along. He was not getting killed today. The laughter stops, and so does the group. Oh my god, the leader mutters, staring at thick webs, creating an entrance. Some insects they saw earlier were wrapped tightly in threads. The boys stare back at Izuku, who just shrugs. It's the boss room probably. So, we should be quiet just in case it's not active. Izuku walks ahead of the guys. A few more minutes of walking, they came across a room filled with blue crystals. Izuku blinks owlishly at them. The station dungeon didn't have these. Wow, this is amazing. If I had to guess, these could fetch over 10 million yen. What do you think, Greenie? The leader turns to the man who had the quirk that creates them. I couldn't tell you, this is the first time I've seen it myself. Izuku walks over and inspecting the crystals. Magic crystals. Izuku felt a chill go down his back as he turns around, seeing shadows covering the 8 faces of the group. We're splitting it evenly, the leader smiles. There is more than enough, but we need to take care of the boss. Where is it? Once you kill the boss, we only have a certain amount of time before the dungeon is closed. Izuku looks upwards and frowns. Also, found the boss, Izuku points up. One by one, everyone looks upwards to see 8 eyes staring down at them. I hate spiders, Izuku mutters to himself as a giant spider was lying in wait surrounded by webs. One guy went to scream, but the fire guy covers his mouth. I looks asleep. Thankfully the leader steps backward. And this seems like the best chance to move the crystals. I don't have the equipment to get anything, Izuku shrugs, not really sure what these guys were thinking, but he had a good idea. Our buddy Bin can create any tool he wants, but he seemed to run off after seeing the spider. I don't blame him, your quirk is creepy. The leader laughs before turning to his group. We will get him, so wait here, and make sure the boss doesn't wake up. The leader smiles too nicely for Izuku, but he relents and just nods. Luckily for Izuku, the crystals gave off some light, so as the fire user went with the group, he wasn't left in the dark. Izuku closes his eyes and listens carefully. Seiji, there was a pregnant pause as the leader speaks again. Block the boss room's entrance. The leader's voice travels far enough for Izuku's sense to pick it up. Greedy, Izuku turns his attention to the giant spider, as the explosion makes the entrance cave in. Izuku felt a power spike in the room as he looks up, seeing the spider begin to move. He just stares up at the spider as it lands on the floor. Its mouth opens as it roars. Didn't know spiders could do that, Izuku hums. All 8 of its eyes were crimson red with rows of teeth in its mouth. Enormous size, long legs, and its strength are on another level. Izuku thought before smirking. Nonsense. Izuku's eyes slowly turned blue as the crystals helping make them glow brighter as his black dagger materialized in his right hand. I'm going to have fun killing you. The spider roars again, and Izuku stares at it dead on. Chapter 5. Boss fight and meeting new people. Izuku stares up at the monster spider and thought to himself. His dagger held tightly by his right hand. Even though you are strong, I don't feel the pressure that makes me bow to it. Izuku crouches lowly. The blue poison fang Risaka, in the station dungeon, was strong for a boss. Even though it was an E-rank dungeon, Izuku's grip got tighter. In comparison to that snake, you are unbelievably strong. But I'm not scared of your strength. That means I became strong enough to face you. A small twitch of Izuku's lips made him smirk as the spider lunges with its mouth open. All 8 legs working together to move its massive body. My current level is 18, a C-rank boss. Izuku jumps forward and begins to attack the spider's legs and body from above it. His attacks leave green and blue streaks inside the cave with every slighter cut. Is doable. Izuku's blade leaves slices on the spider's backside as he flies towards the back of the cave. Izuku looks down at his blade as the spider roars in pain. The spider's blood drips off the tip of the blade. My attack worked. Rasak's fang is a pretty good weapon. Izuku smirks, as his eyes turn back to the spider. He jumps out of the way of the monster to his left side, as the giant spider crushes the spot he was just in. After all the beasts and monsters I've killed, Izuku stands up grinning. I feel like a hunter more than a hero. Crimson eyes meet icy blue before they charge at each other, filled with the intent to kill. Izuku quickly jumps over his head, attacking the spider's top, as it didn't have an attack to pull if he was above the spider. The spider used its legs to stab at the boy in front of him. Izuku just dances around each strike. The spider's legs dig into the floor, and Izuku sliced through one of the ends of the spider's legs, but the leg wasn't entirely off. Its skin is pretty thick. If I want to damage it with the dagger, I'll have to dig in deeper. The spider threw its leg forward like a spear, making Izuku retreat back some. It has no blind spots, and 8 legs can easily break through the floor and the rocks. Everything is threatening, but I have to get closer. Izuku rushes forwards before slicing the top of its head, then attacking its back, cutting where he has been cutting earlier. The the blade finding the cut skin he had sliced at the beginning of the fight. He digs the dagger deeper with each slice. Izuku backflips before bringing his knife up, protecting himself as it slides against the leg, sending sparks flying. A feral grin spreads across his face as his eyes were back to green. How long has this fight been going on? 5 minutes. No, maybe it was 10 minutes. Izuku questions before jumping backward again, getting distance. Oh no. Izuku felt sluggish with his movements. My stamina is running out the longer this fight gets. I haven't even dealt a lot of damage either. Fatigue. 57. The higher my fatigue is, the lower my speed becomes. I need to end this now. Izuku spins the blade around, grabbing it, so the edge points backward. The only way to win this is with the special ability I need to inflict it on this guy. Effect Paralyze. Attack foes have a chance to become unable to move. Effect Bleed. Attack foes lose 1% of their health every 1 second. I did my research on rating. The spider jumps as Izuku dashes forwards. Exploit weak points. Izuku glares at the head and eyes before the spider's mouth open, and globs of toxic green liquid bubbles up. Shy Izuku jumps as high as he could. The spider spits the green liquid at the floor where he was just standing. Acid, of course. Izuku breaths in and calms himself. Of course, you hide your trump card. Izuku lowers himself again, digging his foot into the rocky floor. My time will run out if this goes on any longer. I can't play around. I need to be faster, close the distance with movements even faster than earlier. Izuku's foot cracks the floor as he digs in deeper. A bit faster. Skill. Sprint was activated. Your movement will be increased by 30%. The blue from Izuku's quirk and the green from his hair mix as he disappears into a blur and rushes the spider. He couldn't give it time to react if he wants to kill it before it killed him. Izuku put every ounce of strength into his blade as he sliced and cut around the spider's face. Effect. Paralysis has activated. The enemy's resistance was too high. The effect was cancelled. Izuku grits his teeth. I want to finish this fast as possible, but I keep missing the critical spots. Izuku breaths out roughly as he kept moving faster. Fatigue. 61. He took a deep breath. Faster. Izuku attacks, slicing faster and not giving the spider room to attack him. A bit more. Time froze for Izuku as his body froze. What? Fatigue. 70. Izuku quickly pulls his arms up and blocks the hit as the spider slams him backward with one of its legs. He groans and breaths out as the ground underneath him were broken apart. He opens his eyes, only to see the spider's leg coming for him. Izuku remembers his daily quest and the rewards that came with it. Reward number 1. Status recovery. Status recovery. Accept. Izuku states under his breath just as the leg slams down. The spider roars and tries to back away, but it was too late. Izuku was standing on its face with his dagger embedded into one of its eyes. The spider roars in pain. As each of its 8 eyes focuses on the blue glow of the boy's own eyes. Izuku rips the blade out from the boss's eye, as blood splashed across the greenie's face before he comes back down, stabbing a larger eye. Effect. Paralysis has activated. Izuku rips the bait away before driving it back down over and over again. Effect. Bleed has activated. Izuku's attacks focus on the eyes of the beast as he was relentless in his attacks. Until the head of the spider explodes in a fountain of blood flowing backward. In front of it, Izuku stands with the blade prepared for another attack. The dungeon boss has been slain. Izuku breaths out calmly while walking away from the dead boss. You leveled up. You leveled up. You leveled up. Thank goodness I didn't accept the daily request reward. Who knows what would have happened. Izuku turns back to the beast as he wondering. He stabs below the head to see if there was anything inside the boss. He found a different kind of crystals. Maybe I could sell these, they're one of a kind. Izuku scratches his cheek, getting more blood on himself. Izuku leans against the blue crystals as the entrance explodes inwards. Ah, I forgot these assholes. Status. Name. Midoriya. Izuku level. 21. Job. Nen fatigue. 0. Title. Wolf Slayer. HP 2600. MP. 391. Strength. 53. Vitality 30. Agility. 38. Intelligence. 30. Sense. 32. Remaining points. 3. The 8 men he was inside with walks into the cave, only to see a dead boss and the boy they tried to kill waiting for them. What? This guy is still alive. The Flammerquirk speaks up first. Is the boss dead? The leader asks. The group, on the other hand, spoke to themselves. What happened? Did he kill it by himself? Was that spider just big and stupid? The Flame Quirk user glares at Izuku. It seems I underestimated you. Greenie, the leader, speaks up while chuckling. The leader looks at Izuku, not seeing a single weapon on him. Wang, what do we do now? One of the crew asks their leader. We kill him, the leader smirks. Izuku lowers his head some. What foolish thoughts. Izuku holds back his glare once he looks up with a neutral face. I have a question, have you ever killed a human before? The group all grinned. Have you? Each had their own tool or weapon ready. The leader had a shield available. What a quirk to be wasted on the likes of you, Izuku thought before a notification pops up. An emergency quest has been issued. Emergency quest. Kill the enemies. There are entities nearby that intend to murder the player. Slay them and ensure your safety. If this quest is not completed, a penalty will be issued as a result. Enemies required to be killed. 8. Enemies killed. 0. Izuku's eyes go wide, seeing and reading each message 3 times. What is this? Izuku felt his body fill with dread. The quirk suddenly the flame quirk user attacks. Quest info. Emergency quest. Kill the enemies. There are entities nearby that intend to murder the player, slay them and ensure your safety. If this quest if not completed, your heart will stop. Enemies required to be killed. 8. Enemies killed. 0. Izuku was blasted backward to the opposite side of the boss room. Let's get the crystals and get out of here. If this place closes, we may be trapped. The leader spoke as Izuku laid out over broken rocks, and his green eyes were dull. Why? Izuku's mind shuts down before kickstarting. Why did I forget that? This world focuses on the survival of the fittest more than anything else. Izuku's hand curls around the destroyed rocks around him. My thinking was wrong until now. He thought back to getting his ass kicked every day for 13 years. His mother overprotectiveness, even if she won't do anything to help. Every day I walked into school and out of school covered in burns, scars, and never helped. I mistook home as a safe place. Izuku slowly sits up. I mistook these dungeons as a safe place. He looks at the quest. Enemy. Izuku didn't feel dread anymore. My quirk is forcing me to murder. If this quest if not completed, your heart will stop. Kill if you don't want to be killed. Izuku felt some blood rolling down his face from his forehead. Wouldn't it be awkward if I died? This isn't a coincidence, nor goodwill. Izuku crushes the rock in his hand. This is what my quirk needs. HP. 1360 2600. My quirk isn't going to make me strong. Izuku looks at the enemies ahead of him. Ha, that guy is alive. One of the men questions. I saw that it wanted me to be strong. Izuku leans forward from the throne of broken rock. It's great that it's clear, Izuku spoke coldly. The quirk uses me, and I use the quirk. The men were too distracted to pay attention to Izuku as he stands up. The darkness grows around him. Juan, has your skill deteriorated? His buddy jokes. How embarrassing, he should be able to kill anyone in one shot. Another joke comes out. Another member of the group. Izuku observes and listens. Juan, you should have done it seriously. The leader leans against his friend. I guess so, Seiji chuckles, but inside he was freaking out some. I definitely put my all into that attack, was my aim off. Izuku walks forward as his hair covers his eyes, letting shadows coat his face. You played around with a person's life, so are you ready to face the consequences? Izuku asks coldly while stalking towards the 8 men. What is that bastard saying? One stands with his arms crossed, no weapon in sight. If you guys are villains, Izuku glares as his eyes turn blue. I'm saying you should be ready to become hunted. The group went quiet as it was an 8 versus 1 fight. I'll take care of him, boss. The one with the sword quirk walks over, throwing his arm around Izuku's shoulder. It looks like you don't understand this situation very well. The villain smirks, lowering himself to see Izuku's face. Soft blue light comes from Izuku's right hand. The man asks as Izuku wasn't looking at him when he felt something cold against his neck. Izuku flicks his wrist forward as blood sprays across the floor and in front of Izuku, as he just keeps his eyes on the 7 others in the dungeon with me. A soft ah came from the villain whose throat was just slit. Izuku's dagger had blood across the tip of the blade. 1. Izuku counts off. Enemies required to be killed. 7. Enemies killed. 1. Jaejun. What? That bastard, when did he? The group yells as Izuku just walks forward with his dagger as his side pointing downwards. Where did he get the knife? Izuku grips the handle tighter. I ended up killing a person's blood kept rolling off Izuku's chin onto his shoulder and neck. A human. Although I can say that the quirk orders me, it doesn't change the fact that I killed someone. Izuku looks down at the dead man next to his feet. If I don't kill, I will be killed. I can't run away anymore. Izuku points the tip of the blade towards the group. If only the strong will survive. Izuku's entire life was sheltered by his mother as he would break from the slightest touch. Katsuki and his friends tried their best to break his body and spirit. Katsuki broke his body, but he got back up. His mother destroyed his mind. He's still standing. All Might was the one that broke his spirit, yet here he was inside Izuku's head. His old self died in an explosion 2 weeks ago. He was no longer a weakling to be messed with. Izuku's eyes burn blue as he glares coldly at the enemies before him. I don't know what he just did, but don't let your guard down. The leader tries to stay firm, but the group of criminals could see the shadows behind Izuku. Seiji, give him one more blow. The leader orders as Seiji light a massive fire in his hand and attacks. One moment Izuku was in the way of the blast. The next, he was gone in a blur. Your quirk is annoying. Seiji's eyes whiten as he stares into cold blue eyes before feeling 20 different cuts across his body. Then Seiji's world went dark. To the others, watch a longtime friend get shredded apart and blood sprays everywhere inside the room. That bastard. Two enemies attack Izuku by jumping at him. Izuku sidesteps the first one as his sword cracked the floor. The man felt a cold chill to his side, seeing Izuku's blue hoodie before feeling Izuku's dagger digging into his spine. The second attacker went for a side attack. Still, Izuku merely deflects the blow and stabbing the villain in the stomach while holding his arm. Izuku's face held a small frown as the man starts coughing blood. Izuku turns his attention to the rest of the group, dashes forwards dodging their attacks while slicing their skin. My body isn't moving. One man screams. Is it his quirk? I thought this place was his quirk. That son of a bitch. The three that screams suddenly convulses and bleeds. Effect. Bleed has activated. Effect. Paralysis has activated. Effect. Paralysis has activated. Each one screams before Izuku killed them one by one. In a flash, all out members, the lonely leader yells. You bastard, you were hiding your skills. You saw the boss I killed. Izuku walks closer, only stopping a few feet away. Enemies required to be killed. 1. Enemies killed. 7. I didn't expect all my friends to be defeated. The leader glares harder at the green-haired man. Izuku watches as the shield turned red. I will kill you. The leader charges forward, intent to kill Izuku, only to freeze up as a hand was in front of his face. Takeshi, you're fierce and strong, Izuku states in a bland and neutral tone. But there's one thing you don't know. Izuku's hand grabs the man's face before slamming Takeshi backward into the floor, making a shockwave of broken rock flying. I'm always leveling up ceaselessly. Takeshi stares up at cold blue eyes, remembering the bright green eyes when they first meet. He felt terror in his heart as he starts coughing. What just happened? Takeshi was left on the floor, sprawled out. Did he just slam me into the ground? Takeshi stares up at the shadows that cover Izuku's face. Only the cold blue glow of his eyes could be seen. Izuku's dagger at his side, ready for the last kill. Wait. Don't kill me. Takeshi sits to his knees. Spare me. I'll give you money. You can have all the crystals here and whatever else, the man begs. 3 times. Izuku tilts his head to the side. Are you asking for forgiveness from someone you tried to kill 3 times? Blood was still pulling out of Izuku's forehead and down his face to his neck. Stop it. Takeshi screams. Do you think you will get away with this? No one will know what happened here. It's my quirk after all. Izuku stares down at the man with indifference. You bastard. Izuku didn't need to hear another word. In a simple movement, the dungeon was silent as Takeshi's head rolling away from his body. Blood slowly pours from the neck and head once they were separated. The body slumps over, and Izuku puts his knife back into his inventory. My clothes became a mess again. Izuku stares down at his dirty jacket. It was covered in burn marks and bloody. Plus, with my body growing, they don't fit anymore. I guess I will need to buy new clothes. Izuku looks around the room before stepping over the bodies and leaving. The entire dungeon starts to shake and crumble. The dungeon is closing. Time to leave. Izuku follows the route back to the portal. Quest reward. Emergency quest. Kill the enemies. Completion conditions have all been met. Will you receive the reward? Accept refuse. Quest rewards. Choose your rewards. Reward number 1. Status recovery. Reward number 2. Experience points plus 10. REWARD number 3. Skill. Bloodless. Will you accept your rewards? Accept refuse. Skills. Active. Bloodless LV.1. 100 mana. Using a strong energy, the selected target is put in a state of fear for 1 minute. Several targets can be selected. Effect fear. All stats minus 50%. Izuku walks out of the portal just as it's shut and disappears. He looks back into the constructed building, not seeing a single body. Izuku walks towards the gate only to get punched hard. He grunts out before something slaps him. He starts floating now. He was weightless. What the? Izuku grabs the gate to stop himself from flying away as a girl was glaring at him. Can you explain why you would punch me then float me? Izuku asks as even though he was floating, he inspects the girl that punches first, then asks questions. She had brunette hair and had warm brown eyes. Expect they looked at him with rage. He's seen this girl somewhere. Where has he recognized her from? What are you doing on my family's property? She yells. Oh, that's right, the daughter of Uraraka family. Ichako Uraraka. Izuku supplies his mind. Well shy. Izuku crashes to the floor, and he felt a massive boot crash against his chest, stopping him from getting up. I want answers now. She looks like a demon. Chapter 6. Questions, answers, and lies. Izuku opens his lunch as his back pressed against the gate. At least I got her to let me eat. Izuku grabs the piece of chicken and some rice. He eats it as Uraraka was just glaring at him. Got a name, miss? Izuku smiles innocently, trying to show he wasn't a threat. Uraraka, you mister. Her tone was snappy. Izuku raises an eyebrow. There's a demon in that girl. I respect that. Midoriya. He holds out his hand. She took it, shaking it roughly. He felt the small pads on her fingers. 5-finger touch, gravitational quirk. Awesome. He held in his nerd side while letting go of her hand and leans back again. So, Midoriya, why are you here? She sat down across from him as he ate. I got chased here by bullies, Izuku mumbles. I hid inside, but they caught up. Izuku pulls off his jacket, cleaning his blood off his face. Oh my god, I am so sorry. I didn't realize you were a victim. I thought you were with these delinquents that mess with my family. Uraraka quickly grabs the jacket looking for the wound, but it was already healed. Izuku was just trying to clean the blood off. It's fine, my quirk can heal me, so I just need to clean off the blood. Izuku puts his foot down and grabs a water bottle out of his bag. So what are you doing out here? I am trying to find those delinquents that are causing my parents so much trouble. They usually hang out around here. Uraraka huffs out as she watches Izuku pour his water over his head and start cleaning his face and neck. His shirt gets soaked along with his hair. I wouldn't go searching for trouble. Izuku chuckles at his own advice. Oh, do you have the time? He looks around, seeing the sun was gone from the sky. It's 7 p.m. Why? She watches him fathom, and he starts mumbling up a storm, spitting out information. 7 p.m. It took me 5 hours just to clear that dungeon. Crap, will the buses still be running? Izuku threw the rest of the water back into his bag as he dries his face. He looks down at Uraraka as she was tilting her head. You can mumble pretty fast. She blushes some. Yeah, sorry. It's a bad habit. Izuku's cheeks flush some as he rubbing his neck. Crap, I'm not going to get home tonight. Izuku crouches down. Where are you even from? Uraraka saw Izuku start packing up, so she got up as well. Isatafu. Izuku smiles as her jaw drops. What the heck are you doing all the way in, she yells. Haha, long story, but my quirk brought me here. Izuku sighs. Anyways, I should get going. Maybe there's a bus, or I could run home. Izuku mutters quietly, that seeing his fatigue was at 0. Should worth a try. Izuku starts to stretch out. Wait, seriously? Uraraka laughs, thinking he wouldn't do it. Sure, why not? Izuku grabs his bag. Hey, what do you want to do in the future? Izuku asks softly. Be a hero, hopefully. The money I earn can help my parents. She looks back at the empty construction site. Well, maybe I'll see you at UA. Izuku grins. Also, those delinquents you are talking about, I wouldn't worry about them anymore. See you later. Izuku leaps over the fence again before taking off down the road, leaving Uraraka at the gate. He's fast. Uraraka mumbles softly. She shook her head and walks back home. What a strange guy. Izuku didn't get home until 4 a.m. the next day, as he slowly makes his way up the stairs to his apartment. His breathing was rough, and everything was sore. Fatigue. 99. Izuku laughs at the number while grabbing the railing for support. God, that was stupid. Izuku unlocks his door and praying his mother would be at work. Thankfully, she was. Izuku walks into his room, dropping his bag at his door before crashing onto the bed. As soon as his head hit the pillow, it was lights out for him. Izuku was rudely awakened by his mother around 4 p.m. She was pissed or worried, a mix, probably both. Yes, Mom. Izuku yawns while rolling over, facing the other way. He was still tired but not sore anymore. Fatigue. 10. Hidden quest reward. Item. Demon Castle's key. Item class. S. Type. Key. The key that allows you to enter dungeon. Demon Castle can be used in All Might Tower in Tokyo. I was too tired last night to notice. Since I worked past my usual daily quest, I get a hidden reward. Is this for all quests or just daily quests? Izuku mumbles softly to himself. He can figure it out later. I need to level up a little more before going after an S-class dungeon. Izuku sighs. Izuku, are you even listening? Inko yells at him. No, not really. What was the question? Izuku sat up, looking at her. Where were you last night? She questions. At a friend's. Sorry, I didn't tell you. Izuku gets out of bed, smelling like a gym since he needs a shower. I need to shower. Is there anything you need? Izuku rubs his eyes as he towers over his mother. She finally realizes the changes in her boy. He was about 6 foot now and filling out his clothes a lot more. Are you taking anything, Izuku? She asks, but it sounds more like she was accusing him. Izuku stares at her with a deadpans. I can't wait to be 18, Izuku thought to himself. No, Mom, I'm not taking drugs. Izuku moves past her. Don't you have work? Izuku went to his closet and frowns, seeing all the All Might shirts and hoodies. God, that's annoying. Izuku saw his mother looking hesitant behind him. Izuku grabs one of his graphic t-shirts that said t-shirt on it and some sweepins, before going to the bathroom. He needs to sell his All Might merch before he can get new clothes. Izuku thought about an idea before he smiled. I wonder if Omotsudafen wants them. He said he was a hardcore All Might fan. Izuku sent the man a message and gave him the details of his collection, before placing his phone down to take a shower. His phone went off a few times before he got out of the shower. Izuku couldn't help but chuckle. He knew he had some of the rare All Might collectibles. Izuku and Omotsudafen would go back and forth, seeing who had the better things. Omotsudafen won by a landslide, but Izuku had some things he didn't. You're seriously getting rid of them now? AMSF. Yeah, actually met the guy. Not that much of a fan anymore. Small Might Izuku sighs. I need to change that stupid name. Izuku got dressed and walks out, seeing his mother's bag was gone. Good, she's gone. When and where do you want to meet? AMSF. Anywhere, anytime. I need money. SM. Okay, come to my office. AMSF. Izuku reads over the address, and his brain stops working for a solid minute. That's Night Eye's agency. SM. Yes, I know it's my agency. I'm in my office now. Just tell Bubble Girl you're Small Might. She will let you in. AMSF. Izuku grips his phone and crouches into a bowl. I've been arguing and debating everything all night with Sir Night Eye since I was 10. A sound comes from Izuku's throat that sounds like a dying cat. Oh okay, that's totally normal. Izuku tries to rationalize. He gets dressed in his jeans and high tops. Only wearing his t-shirt since his hoodie got destroyed yesterday. Okay, be there soon. SM. Izuku grabs the box of All Might stuff before leaving his apartment. He makes sure the box was protected the entire time, even when he got onto the train. He got some strange looks but ignores them, his foot softly tapping the whole time. Once he made it, he just stares at the building, contemplating his life again. He sighs and walks inside, seeing Bubble Girl typing away at the computer. Her quirk was remarkable even if people saw it as weak. Yet she could kick anyone's ass. Izuku chuckles before walking towards her with the box. Hi. I'm Izuku's face turning red from embarrassment. Small Might, he whispers. She looks him up and down before giggling. Oh, sir, said someone would be coming by. Sir's office is down there. The last door. She points down the hallway and across the bullpen. Izuku just nods and grips the box tightly. He couldn't help it as he looked around as sidekicks and workers were gathering information and building cases. It was honestly amazing to watch. Izuku got close to the door and hears two voices inside. I know you want Mirio, but I need to find the boy. A tired voice sounds off. I understand, but Mirio is ready and already in UA. That was Night Eye. Izuku knew it. He knocks softly. Hold on. Sir's voice comes to the door and opens it, seeing a young man with a large box over his shoulder with the words, "Sell later" on it. Hello, sir, I'm Izuku Midoriya. We talked online. Izuku's cheeks flush, and he tries to stay calm. Small Sir starts only to get cut off. Please don't say that name. Izuku blushes harder, looking away from Sir's face. It's kinda embarrassing, plus I made that account when I was 7. Yeah, I'm surprised because your name does not fit anything about you. Sir stares at the 6-foot man in front of him. Izuku himself needs to look up. 6'7". Geez, and I thought I got taller. Izuku rubs his neck, still holding the box in one hand. Oh yes, come in. Izuku walks in, seeing the one man he wishes he didn't. All Might. Sorry, this is Toshinori Yagi. Sir states. Toshinori, this is Izuku Midoriya. Izuku waves half-heartedly before turning to Sir. I have my entire collection here. Even if you don't buy it all. Would you mind just taking it off my hands? I'd rather not ride the train back with the box. Izuku puts it down gently next to the desk. May I? Sir pulls out a pocket knife. Go ahead. Izuku stands away from Yagi. Sir opens the box, seeing posters, action figures, and some rare figures still in the box. This is at least a few million yen worth in itself. Sir Night Eye states. They stopped making these as soon as they were on the shelf for one day since they messed up. They called it Angry Might. They messed up, making All Might frown. Izuku chuckles a little. I bought it day one since it was interesting. Yagi himself looks at the massive collection as it was pulled from the box. Why are you getting rid of it all? Izuku looks over. I just need the money before college starts and a personal reason. Izuku turns back to Sir, who looks like he was in heaven. I'll buy it all for 3 million yen. Sir smiles. Deal. Izuku shakes Sir's hand. I didn't think I would get much from it. Perfect. Sir goes back to his desk and cut a check for Izuku. Yagi himself was still looking at all the merchandise Sir now owned. What will be your new name online? I enjoy your analysis on different heroes. Sir Night Eye hands over the check, and Izuku places it in his wallet to deposit later. Not completely sure yet. I will make sure to tell you when I make a new account. Izuku smiles. Well, I need to get this deposited and go shopping. Izuku turns to leave. Thanks for taking this stuff off my hands, sir. Izuku bows at the door before slipping out. Who was that? Yagi asks while staring at the door. The boy looks familiar, but he couldn't place it. Just someone I met online. He is great at analysis. Sir quickly places the merchandise off to the side, as he would need to rearrange his office to fit the new merchandise. Anyways, you are running out of time. Hopefully, once the entrance exams finish, you will see Mirio is the one for all. Yagi just nods softly. If I can't find the young man by the time UA starts, we will talk with Mirio. That seemed to satisfy Sir. Izuku left the bank with a new account in his own name, and the 3 million yen in it. Perfect. Izuku smiles as he had cash that his mother couldn't track now. Izuku still felt tired from his late night run, so he decides to put off the new dungeon key he got. Plus, rather not go to Tokyo right after going to Uraraka's place. Izuku walks back home and sits down on the couch. He leans back, humming to himself. 9 months till the entrance exam. How many levels can I get raised by just daily quests? I'll go to Tokyo this weekend. Izuku closes his eyes before falling asleep. Thank you for joining us today on this epic journey into the world of My Hero Academia and solo leveling. We hope you enjoyed listening to the incredible tale of Deku's awakening and how his life would be with the solo leveling system. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more exciting content. See you in the next video.